Okay, Marjorie Taylor Greene is popping off on Twitter, and I think we should do a dramatic reading of her post. Pop this up. And I'm going to do this in my Marjorie Taylor Greene accent. I'd like to congratulate two-time congressional candidate loser Laura Loomer, MIGA, I guess that's Make Israel Great Again, foreign op Mark Levin, and neocon murdering psycho Senator Lindsey Graham for leading Republicans into slaughter going into midterms. Your incessant lies to President Trump have destroyed all faith in the GOP. I'd like to remind everyone that when I led the party on the campaign trail fighting for America First in 22 and 24, all the GOP did was win, win, win. But after Trump called me a traitor, he said he would destroy me for releasing the Epstein files. I refuse to fight for Trump and the Republican Party that defends the Epstein class, wages pointless foreign wars, and pursues America last. I never changed. Trump and the GOP betrayed their voters and took in the trash we threw out of the party. Loomer, Levin, and Lady Lindsey are the best political consultants the Democratic Party could ever imagine. And then it shows all the Democrats win. Okay, she makes some good points, but I will say my favorite part of this is the narcissism in the center of it. That's my favorite part.
Win, win, win.
That when I was leading the coalition, we won all the time. But now that Donald Trump called me a traitor, we're losing, as though it has nothing to do with the abject failure of Republican parties, but just the fact that she's not campaigning with them. That's my favorite part. What's yours, Pumps?
Okay, so I love that part, but I also love the Lady Graham. I mean, come on. But you know, I thought this was a very Trump-esque post. She kind of sounded like Trump in it, like, I'm the winner. You know, everybody else name calls. So I kind of see her walking in Trump's little shadow there.
And I want to say this, as funny as that is, and to kind of dabble in the right-wing media, this is an important political strategy that we've talked about before, but I want to bring it up again. In 2016, when Trump started in the Republican primary, he started hurling insults and tearing down the Republican status quo. And it turned off the Republican establishment, and it turned off the Republican media. And in the right-wing media ecosystem, he was growing, growing, growing. Mainly what this is really, whether it's childish and sophomoric or more academic or whatever, is when you start attacking the status quo, that is a winning formula for the electorate. And whether that be attacking status quo politicians, attacking your own political party, because Trump ran as a Republican that attacked Republicans. He attacked the wars. He attacked, they all take all this money, they can be bought and paid for. I'm so rich, I can't be bought and paid for. Marco Rubio's little. Jeb Bush has low energy. My favorite, Lion Ted. All of it's lies, and he's a con man and a demagogue and all of that. But it seems like every time there is an anti-status quo candidate, that candidate wins. Joe Biden in 2020 was the anti-status quo candidate. And so I just think that's an important thing to note that Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene are both doing right now. And Pumps and I take a lot of heat by criticizing Democratic establishment leaders in the party right now. And I don't know that we can be a political party that says we can't criticize each other. I don't know that that's, number one, intellectually honest, and number two, a winning strategy when we lost 2 elections to a demented moron that wears a full face of makeup every day. Okay, moving along. This is so weird. Okay, here's Melania with a robot at the White House yesterday. Pop this up. Melania Trump this morning proposes an AI system, Play-Doh, as a replacement for teachers. And I'll read this to you all in my Melania Trump accent. Literature, art, science, mathematics, history, the entire corpus of knowledge at home, replace teachers with a machine, AI over teachers. That's the idea. Then Brian Allen goes on to say, instead of calling for better pay for our nation's educators and heroes. So Melania is going to they want to replace teachers with robots, you guys. And here's the messaging, Democrats. It's so important. It was never the immigrants that were going to take your jobs. It's always been the oligarchs and their robots. And this is on full display at the White House all of the time. The oligarchs are always there. He's appointing them. Like I saw that Mark Zuckerberg and Larry Ellison are appointed to some AI board. And here's something else. And Pumps, I want to get your take on this. So we live in a state, or I used to live in your state, Oklahoma. States' rights is a big thing. They wanted Roe v. Wade to go back to the states so that the states could say no abortion in Oklahoma. as it pertains to AI, they want it to be, the states cannot regulate it. They want the states to have no rights. So this whole states' rights argument that the Republican Party has used for decades is now being exposed as yet another lie on top of trickle-down economics and all of these things. What's your take on that, Pumps?
Well, when you look at Trump, and Marjorie Taylor Greene actually was the first one to call him out in the Republican Party, that because of his tie to the oligarchs and that he's in their pocket, he's trying to limit the state's ability to regulate, because that's what AI wants. That's what these billionaires want. And so it's hypocrisy on steroids. The whole thing is alarming that AI is, because I just read an article about how they wanted to use AI in finance, but they realized that all the AI did was break the law. You see it in the drones with Pete Hegseth killing people willy-nilly. Like, they have no appreciation or respect for life. So part of me thinks, oh, well, then that's the perfect Republican Party. But it's very concerning that now we're going to have our teachers do this. I mean, it's just a big old barrel of bad worms. But I will say this. Of course, Melania wants a robot to teach school. She's a visionary.
Mathematics, history, science, and mathematics. For Donald, I want to live in a country where people can walk down the street and not get raped. Oh, okay, Melania.
Okay, great.
I see why it's so lonely at the top, darling. All right. But one more final thing before we move along on the AI stuff. And this is just something I think. So I was on ChatGPT, and then you find out Sam Altman's a psychopathic asshole. So I got off ChatGPT, and now I'm on Claude, which is Anthropic. And at first I was kind of mesmerized by the whole thing. But after you've been on it a while, there's a lot of hype around AA. It's just a smidge better than Google. AI. I'm Jennifer, and I'm an alcoholic. It's just a nudge better than Google.
Right.
And I've read some things, and I think you probably have too, that stock market is held up right now by an AA bubble that a lot of economists call a Ponzi. AI bubble, artificial intelligence, not Alcoholics Anonymous, an AI bubble that is a Ponzi scheme, and that the technology has been overpitched and oversold as to what it can actually do. And all of these oligarchs have such a hard on for it. And the states being able to regulate it, or if we had a federal government that would keep us safe, would expose a lot of the shortcomings of it. But the oligarchs don't want that. So that's just something else. There's this big AI bubble. And when I said it right, Pumps, there's a big AI bubble. And when it pops, that's when it's going to be like horrific recession, possible depression. Okay. Moving along. This is something that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention. I feel like as we're sitting here and we see all of the crimes, all of the abuse, the war crimes, the murders of American citizens, ICE roaming around the airports, we could have prevented all of this. Trump showed us who he was in Trump 1.0, and it ended with him breaking the law in the worst way he could, inciting a violent insurrection on our nation's capital, and not supporting a peaceful transfer of power wherein his own supporters wanted to kill Mike Pence, who has a pet bunny and calls his wife mother, who's a Christian white man. Even he wasn't safe. And I get so angry that the justice system in the United States of America is an apartheid justice system. And I saw this headline pop this up. Politico, Senator Ruben Gallego on Wednesday called former Attorney General Merrick Garland a coward over his handling of prosecuting January 6 insurrectionists. The Arizona senator said the former Attorney General was willing to sacrifice our democracy to protect the institution of the Justice Department. I think that this is so important. I think one of the mistakes that we've had is, we're just going to look forward. We're not going to atone or reckon with these things that these powerful people did before us. We want to look forward. I think that has been a fool's errand that you can see from administration to administration, whether it's Republican or Democratic. And after January 6th, I think the most important action the incoming administration, the incoming DOJ had, was to prosecute every MFer involved in that, all the way up to the top. And this supports all of this. Pop this up, Kylie. white collar crime prosecutions set to reach new low. And so, as you can see, it starts in the 90s under Reagan and Bush, and then it goes to Clinton, and then it goes to George W. Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden, and then Trump again. If we look at Trump's first term, you can see a complete fall off from the prosecutions of white collar crime. And then Biden continued that. And now in Trump's second term, it drops again. And this is just an important point for Democrats as we try to become an opposition party and capture back the country and install like an FDR style reign. We cannot continue the bad things that Republicans do. And I think that's been an error that we've had. I think one of the best things that Democratic politicians can do right now is what Senator Gallego just did. Tell the voters, we screwed up. I'm in the party that messed up. I'm aware of it. I know it happened, and I'm going to move forward, which brings me back to the very first post that I spoke to you all about. Criticizing the status quo is an important feature of winning elections.
Well, I completely agree with you. And you find out based on incompetence, a memo leak that Jack Smith in the investigation into the Mar-a-Lago documents, Trump was planning to use those documents to enrich himself. He was going to sell U.S. secrets. Merrick Garland for Jack Smith. He knew that. And now he didn't prosecute in time. And now you look at how, he was saving the integrity of the Justice Department. And Trump comes in and flattens the Justice Department. Is completely, the Justice Department, it will take generations to build back up because it is so compromised. It has been so diminished. And so in a way, he made it worse because Merrick Garland knew Trump was in the Epstein files. Nobody prosecuted the Epstein files under Biden or Trump. He knew Trump was in the Epstein files. He knew he was selling U.S. secrets. He knew he'd seen with his own eyes on January 6th, and there was no accountability. And I look at the difference between how Brazil handled their president with an insurrection and how we did. And I think it's fucking embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
It is. And it's something the Democrats need to atone for. They need to own it. And being critical of the past mistakes that the Democratic Party made is an important stepping stone to be able to move forward. You can't just stick your head in the sand and go, oh, none of that happened. But I just want to add something to what you said. You said Merrick Garland thought he was saving the integrity of the Justice Department. I would argue he did the opposite. Mm-hmm. I would argue, per the graph, if you put that graph back up, Kylie, it is a continuation of allowing the Epstein class, which I think the Epstein class at this point are rich people that get off the hook because of their connections to politicians and to players in the DOJ and players in either administration. The first part of Trump's term was higher. First term was higher in prosecutions than all of Biden's. Right. And so, in my opinion, he continued the dismantling that Trump started at the DOJ and Trump 1.0. He preserved the dismantling of the DOJ. It didn't preserve any integrity at all.